I got to spend some time with College Football 27 early, so I'm going to be showing you everything you need to know about gameplay this year. This video is sponsored by EA, and I was on a work in progress build. In this gameplay video, we're going to be looking at the complete overhaul to defense, which now includes smart zones, the ability to roll coverage, plaster coverage, and more. Offense is always fun in college football, but this year, the defense has the answers. There's also some other great new features like timing-based catching, which adds more skill to both sides of the ball, as well as custom adjustments. And it's not just about the gameplay itself, but everything around it, from new presentation elements to dynamic weather, and of course, tons of new on-field drip. Now we have to start on the defensive side of the ball. This year you have the ability to play aggressive, ultra aggressive, conservative, or ultra conservative coverage. So in this example, I'm playing aggressive because I want to clamp down on those underneath routes, and you're going to notice that my defenders are going to be all over those shallow routes. Now, of course, that's going to leave you more vulnerable on the deep routes, but this is going to ensure that you take away those short routes. Now, of course, we've had shading in the past, but this just kind of provides even more aggression on those underneath routes. Here, for example, I'm playing conservative, and you can see how the zones are drifting back, and we're able to get a pick there and actually turn this around for a pick six. In this year's game, you're going to notice that zone coverage is much improved. Zones are smarter now, reacting to players coming into their area. They're not just going to always stand around and cover grass. They're going to try to attack anything that they see coming into their area of the field. And with these aggressive and conservative style play calls, you can set your defense up for success based on the down and the distance. As you can see here, the linebacker for Ohio State, not only is he playing conservative, but he is drifting with the receiver, not just standing in his one area the entire play. Now here in this example, we are backing up our coverage and also playing conservative. And again, you're going to notice the linebacker is going to drift back. He is going to bail and pick up the route that's coming into his zone. We're able to click on and get an interception. Now with this comes all new coaching adjustments for strategies. You can set your zones to aggressive or conservative in this menu if you want, or you can call them on field. But what's really interesting is the plaster coverage. This is going to allow your zone coverage to bail out on the back end and man up when the QB starts breaking the pocket, when those plays break down. So you can set this to aggressive. You can even set your timing to aggressive or conservative if you want them to bail on their zones even quicker. And this is going to help on a lot of plays, like I said, where those quarterbacks get out of the pocket and they start rolling out or the plays break down. You're going to notice now that the defense is going to do a better job at bailing on their zones. As you can see here, the linebacker is going to match this guy and carry him over the middle, taking away that throwing lane. Here you see the deep zone just in general playing a lot smarter. As he sees somebody coming into his area, he kind of clamps down on it and gets in position. Overall, you're just going to notice much better coverage from the defense this year, and with all of the new adjustments you can make, you can really set your defense up for success. And the defense doesn't stop there with coaching adjustments. On your defensive line, you can set your pass rush aggression as well to conservative or aggressive based on if you want them to go for the big plays, but also you can give up some big plays as well. You can also set your gap integrity on top of that to conservative or aggressive, or you can always leave things balanced if you just kind of want it how it's been in years past. And it doesn't just stop there, because when you look at man coverage and matching zone coverages inside of your coaching adjustments, there's a lot of new options here to set them to perform in certain ways versus certain alignments, giving you the most control ever over how your defense plays. Jumping into practice mode here to show you some other changes. If you want to quick adjust this year, you simply only have to press the Y or triangle button once, and then every single defender gets their own icon now. So if I want to put the linebacker on the left into a hard flat, I would just press the Y button, then the LB button, and then choose the hard flat assignment. The LB or L1 button brings up your custom adjustments, which we'll talk about a little more later, but they have some presets already built in. So if I want to stop a scramble, I can select play QB scramble, and you can see that it adds contains and a spy. I can do things like fake pressure, which is showing the blitz. I can blitz all. I can play the inside run, which will pinch and crash my line. I can play the outside run, which will spread and crash them the opposite way. And the left trigger will control your secondary adjustments to back them, press them, shade them, or play aggressive or conservative. Now we got to move to the offensive side of the ball, because offense is still very fun in college football. In fact, it does feel a little snappier, closer to how it did in 25. The juke move specifically, I feel like, feels a lot better this year than it did last year. So I'm sure offense is going to have a lot of fun with this game as well. Now we have to talk about the new timing-based catching. You don't have to turn this on, but if you do, it's going to give you more control on both offense and defense. Actually, you can time the ball as it arrives to you, and if you hit the green window, you're going to be almost guaranteed to get the catch unless you get knocked out by a big hit, which you'll see right here. We're going to green it, but we took a big hit, thus we dropped it. But in this example right here, even in double coverage, because it wasn't a massive hit, we were able to come down with it by perfectly timing our catch. So for those of you that want to have the one-on-one ball with the receiver and the DB, now both of you have control over this. If one person times their catch better, you can go up and win those battles. And aside from that, there was more work done with wide receiver and DB interactions overall. So you're going to notice some different releases, some different chucks, more hand fighting, which is really cool to see, and some big hits as well. As you see here, I didn't time this right and I got taken out. Now we have to move to custom adjustments because this is one of the biggest changes to the game. So right here, you can see on the offensive side of the ball, I can set everything from my offensive line. I can decide if I want to double team somebody. I can decide who I want to ID on the defensive side of the ball. I can decide if I want to untarget a certain defender. And then I can go into my positions and I can put certain routes on the wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, and so on. And as you can see here, I'm going through and just setting up kind of a new macro that I'll be able to use in game. Now here in game, I'm going to press the LB or L1 button. It's going to bring up my custom adjustments. I only have 2 that I put into the game, but you could do up to 10 on both sides of the ball, and it's going to put the appropriate routes, the appropriate blocking, everything that you set up on that screen that I showed you previously. No matter what formation it is, it's going to put the routes in as you had them. So if you have a couple of formations you run, you can kind of build out a bunch of custom setups. And then when you get into the game, you're not going to have to hot route 10 different things. You can just press a couple buttons and get right into them. But there are some generic ones that EA has set up in the game as well, like all verticals or mesh, which I audibled into right here. So on both sides of the ball, you have the EA ones that are available to you, and you're able to add some custom ones as well. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. And there's a bunch of different options that you can play around with. Like right here, I'm doing the double moves macro that EA had already set, and then I just audibled into basically an entirely different play. Now there was also some work done with tackling this year. So when you flick up on the right stick, that's going to still be the hit stick. Down is still going to be the cut stick. If you go left on the right stick, you're going to do a lunge tackle. If you go right on the right stick, you're going to do a wrap tackle. So now there's more control on that right stick for how you want to tackle an offensive player. And they also added a new QB sneak meter. Yeah, we have meters for everything now, and based on how the defense is set up, the green window for this will be larger or smaller. So now the QB sneak has the appropriate animations behind it. Now you have more control over whether or not you actually get the first down. Another cool thing they worked on this year was coach mode. You can enable this in the menu. You can decide if you want to play as the quarterback or if you want it to be auto QB. You can choose auto snap or regular snap, coach suggestions, and you even have a coach perspective camera. If you turn this on, you can watch from the sideline like an actual coach, which is pretty cool. But if you don't want this on, you turn it off and you can just watch the standard camera. Another cool aspect to this is you can watch from the coach box like a coordinator. So notice in Kennesaw State, we're much closer to the field because it's a smaller stadium. But if we go to a stadium like Penn State, the press box is much higher up. And a lot of work was done with AI for this mode, not only with the ball carriers, but the defense and the quarterback decision making, so that coach mode now is a fun way to play the game, not only play now, but in Dynasty as well. And we have to talk about dynamic weather. Here I have it set to dynamic snow, and you'll notice earlier in the game, not a lot of snow. Now as we get into the fourth quarter, look how much snow is accumulating on the field, and also just look at the field degradation and how all of the footprints and everything are now tracking in the field properly, which is really cool. And what's really cool about this is it's not a quarter-to-quarter system, it's actually play-to-play. So from one play to the next, the weather can change, and from a few plays here to a few plays there, the weather can get noticeably worse, which I think is really cool. And they also upped the presentation as well. They changed some of the team runouts. They added some different camera angles, some different aspects to certain teams. They're always kind of tinkering with this. You've also got the new equipment this year. You've got to talk about how good the equipment looks. Hanging mouthpieces, all different colors, better helmet fits, helmet tilts. You've got things like reflective visors now, better cropped jerseys, the one leg sleeve, which people have been asking about for years, and it just makes the game look more authentic. And they also did some good work with the dirty jerseys, the players getting dirty in games as well, just adding more authenticity to the look of the game. There's a lot of other great tidbits you're going to find out as we get closer to the game, but I only had limited time to show you everything that I could today. Let me know what your favorite thing is that you saw in this video, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the other exclusive videos I've got coming very soon.